Hi, AW Clubbers. I promise we'll find a better name for you later. So yes, we've been away for a long time, and yes, we are returning! But not this episode exactly. In fact, those of you who have been with us since the beginning may recognize the title, and you may be wondering, is this a repost of an old episode? Why yes, in fact it is. This is a repost of our third episode from way back yonder entitled Aliens and the Benefits of a Liberal Arts Education. Now, why are we reposting this, you may ask? Well, the inception of this idea came from two things. Numero uno, I just got Final Cut, which I've been promised is an infinitely better editing suite than iMovie, which is what I've been using to edit all the videos since then, and since I want to teach myself how to use this editing suite, I figured the easiest way to do that would be recutting an old episode. Other than this intro, there's nothing new added, however, there have been a lot of cuts. I personally think this makes the episode better, but if you've already seen it before, you're not going to get anything new out of it. Second, and much more ulterior motive for this repost, the Awesome Sauce channel known as Vlogbrothers, link in the downy there thing, are hosting a contest called Nerd Factor. For an explanation, watch this video explaining it, link in the downy there thing. And this is our entry. We thought the content in this particular video was good, however, since it was one of the first ones we ever did, the editing and all the technical stuff is a little, not so much, so we figured if we're going to enter this contest, we might as well post a better version. So to recap, if you've seen this episode, you can feel free to skip it. If you haven't, watch it, enjoy it, it'll be #funtimes. But fear not. Remember how I said we are returning, just not with this particular post? Well... We're back, baby! This Friday, a new episode of the AW Club will be posted right here for your enjoyment, so have fun waiting for that. Woo!
Welcome to the AW Club. I'm Whipple, it's Wade, and Eric. He's a random freshman who just gave us our topic, mostly gave us our topic of discussion today.
We figured, we were making it too easy on us. We wanted a real challenge. Because the last few weeks it was May the 4th, so it's easy to go Star Wars. We saw Avengers, we're like, have to talk about Avengers. So today we're like, we need to make a video. Don't know what we want to talk about. So that's where Eric comes in.
His topic. Actually, we'll see if you can guess the topic of discussion. No,
because we.
And it's that part now.
No.
Okay, so aliens.
Aliens. That's the topic.
What about aliens?
What about aliens? Okay, here's good. Do you think aliens exist?
Oh yeah, I think it's unquestionable. I don't think it's necessary they exist to the form that we always imagine it to exist.
Intelligent life on other planets.
That's a key stipulation there.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's funny because whenever everyone always says, it's ridiculous. Of course, there's intelligence life everywhere, but I know this is a very human and narcissistic. Humans are the best kind of thing to say. But what if we actually are the first?
Well, you know, that there is a good chance of that.
There is a good chance that we are the first intelligence life ever.
In order for us to have existed, all of the conditions needed to be entirely perfect. One little chemical imbalance in the oceans, or a little chemical imbalance in the atmosphere, and life at all wouldn't exist, let alone human life. We came about through a very, very interesting and very specific pattern of evolution, and who knows, what was the step that made us need to be sentient? What was the step that made us need to have long memories, have...
What is sentience?
Sentience. I think it's incredibly human narcissistic to say that anywhere else in the universe there exists intelligent life like us.
Yeah.
Intelligent life that's like us, because just the chances of that happening are astronomically small to have the exact same conditions work out just perfectly. I feel like there kind of has to be life out there because just by virtue of the probability. Space is so massive, there's so many planets, and a very small fraction of those are going to be habitable. A very small fraction of the habitable ones are going to have the right conditions to create life, and a very small number of the ones that have the right condition to have life are going to create intelligent life. I think that there's enough out there that, regardless of how tiny that percentage is, that means that somewhere out there, statistically, there probably is.
There's a little Java applet, and what it does is it zooms in to the atom.
I saw that. That's the coolest thing ever.
The quarks, and then whatever the smallest thing is.
I'll find it and put a link in the downy there thing.
Yeah, and then it zooms out, and it slowly zooms out. It's like the universe getting bigger and bigger, and it's like a logarithmic scale. So it's factoring out by factors of 10 every 5 seconds you back out. And it's cool because it's like known universe goes like this, and then you zoom out, and then you zoom out more, and then it's like known universe, and then it's like actual universe is like
how will we predict the actual universe?
What the predict the actual universe is, and it's because it's a logarithmic scale, it's like 10 or 20 times bigger than the known universe, and the known universe
is massive.
Yeah, the known universe just
means what we can observe. Observe means that we can see light from wherever that is.
Yeah.
And we can, like, so, yeah.
Which, mind-boggling, oh my god.
The universe is too big, guys. It's scary. Now, a different question from, do you think intelligent life exists? Do you think aliens have ever visited Earth?
Oh, no.
Me too.
No.
No.
Why would they? Like, honestly.
This is the one problem that I have with any alien invasion movie. The assumption is that they can get to our planet from somewhere so far away that we can't even tell that they exist yet.
Yeah.
They can get here, and if they can do that, to assume that they can't immediately kill us, if aliens came and attacked us, it would not be guns fighting against bow and arrows. It would be like us with a slingshot fighting against nuclear bombs.
Yeah.
We would have zero chance.
I don't know, like, why would they even try to take us out? I feel like any alien worth its bag of salt would just realize that we're no threat. We're small beings. Signs. The reason why I believe the alien, I guess, in that movie is because the alien was hurt. Mm-hmm. He had no other aliens, and he was just generally like a weak-ass alien because he was hurt and just generally shitty.
Yeah, I mean, in a lot of shows, like Doctor Who is one example that I probably will throw out like every other week. But the whole premise of the show is that it's an alien visiting Earth. The Doctor, who's a time-traveling alien, super, super advanced, comes and visits Earth and protects it against other aliens, basically. One of the explanations for that is the reason that he decides to come there is just because, god damn it, humans are so cool. He just likes humans. He thinks they're awesome. He thinks they're fun to be around, and he admires them. Why other aliens come here is always very sketchy. It's sort of just, usually either an accident, they just sort of end up being there, or it's because, not because they want to deal with humans, because they want to fight the Doctor. And so he ends up bringing stuff on his own, which leads to all sorts of cool morality questions.
So he's really the instigator of Earth.
A lot of times, yes. If you look at it from a big, broad scope, everything that happens in that show is basically just because humans are cool, he likes hanging around them, he thinks they're fun. We're kind of like toys to him, but it's not that simple. It's like we're almost like pets, and he has fun hanging around us, and he wants to make sure we're safe.
I mean, that's what I would do if I was an alien. What would you do in that situation if, like, the first race of other sentient life?
I saw a very cool infographic that was basically saying, like, so the assumption is that you the reader are the first person who will ever encounter the alien race that comes to Earth, and it's like saying, don't screw it up, here's what you do, and it outlines the steps. And what they say is, of course you're not going to be able to communicate with them verbally. There's no way to assume that they even have the same, or able to hear the same sounds as you. Yeah. No way they'll understand your language. Even written stuff, they might not see things in the same visual spectrum. But the way, you know how you do it? Math. But if they're going to you assume that they're advanced, meaning that one of the things they say is that, like, they're not going to know that it's called the Pythagorean theorem, but they're sure going to know that a squared, this side squared plus this side squared equals this side squared. And so what you need to do is figure out a way to communicate basic arithmetic to them, like with rocks or with something like that, because they won't know what the numbers mean, so you'll need to use it with quantities. So, like, this plus this equals this. And, like, figure out some way of showing them that this divided by this equals this, and figure out a way to, first of all, to let them know that you're advanced enough to understand math. Not advanced they are, but that you're not an unintelligent species that should be wiped out. Slowly you go through and show them more sophisticated stuff. One of the things you have to communicate to them is that you use a base 10 system. Because who knows what base they use? They could use a base 24. They could use a base 2.
That's so weird.
But that's one thing.
Math is useful.
Math is the only universal language, because even science is not necessarily going to work. Who knows what their environment is? So what we take for granted as Earth science might not work out. But math, no matter what, those math constants are just going to be true because they just...
What if they come from a different universe and physics is different there?
Yeah.
You never know. These are the things that you should be teaching your children.
Teach it to your kids so that your kid is the first one to ever meet aliens, so that way they don't fuck it up for the rest of us.
I feel like a good general education, like, it sounds just kind of ridiculous, but the people in the world that are going to, like, continue, I guess, keeping the world going, or just doing that, are people who have lots of general education. And if there is one person who learns from age 2 to age 30 math, and that's all they do, sure, they might discover some new cool things, but...
There's a very cool graphic that I saw. So say you have a circle, and that circle is all of human knowledge. And so, like, there's a little circle inside of that will be, all the stuff you learned in high school. and then a little bit smaller, bigger circle will be all stuff you learn in college, and a little bit bigger circle will be all stuff you learn in grad school. But then this is all of human knowledge. The idea is that what a PhD is it's not that you learn the entire circle. It's that you learn little bits of the circle, and then you go to the edge and you poke it just a little bit. It's like that's what a PhD does. That's what a researcher does. You're just kind of poking human knowledge a little bit further. And when I was talking about this with another friend of mine, they're saying the other way is that you can imagine it like a tree, and that each different discipline has its own little branch. And so what you can do, yes, you can be the mathematician who goes to the very edge of the math branch and pokes it a little further. But where the real advance in society comes from is when you go up on the math branch, and then there's the psychology branch over here, and you poke them from both sides until you get somewhere in the middle. That's where human knowledge really expands, is, in my opinion, it's when you cross the disciplines. Like that Freakonomics book, it's thinking about human behavior and psychology and history through an economics perspective, which is fascinating, super, super interesting. Or you have, psychology is thinking about human behavior, but through a science perspective. Computer science, thinking about logic, but applying it to engineering and how stuff works. And that's where the real advances comes, from bridging the gaps.
So this is where we get to from aliens.
There you go. You just heard our little treatise on education.
I feel like that's
a good place to start.
That's a good place to start.
Well,
8 Up Club out.
8 Up Club out.